The GT4 European Series is proud partner of Project Mine.
Hello and welcome to the brand new GT4 European Series. The first race is in Italy on the sunny Adriatic just south of Rimini. It's at the Autodromo Santa Monica, or that's what it used to be called. It's recently been renamed in memory of the late Marco Simoncelli, who lived in Misano, as Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli.
In this show, Jan Joris Verheul reveals the secrets of driving a good lap at the Misano track. Nail-biting races by day and night, but first let's get to know the GT4, meet the teams and the drivers.
In its first season, the GT4 European Series visits 6 different circuits. After the opener at Misano, next stop is Zandvoort during the Masters, then Spa, Paul Ricard, the Nürburgring and Monza complete the mouth-watering calendar. The race weekends consist of 2 50-minute free practices, 2 qualifying sessions and 2 races between 50 and 60 minutes, each with a mandatory pit stop. So let's meet the drivers and teams in the series. One of the most experienced drivers in the field is Duncan Heisman. He shares the Las Moras racing car with Luke Brahms, one of the founders of the GT4 European Series. Jan Joris Verheul is next. He's one of the most recognisable faces in Dutch motorsport. His teammate is Marcel Nuren, who drove with BMW and Corvette in the past and has now switched to a Chevy Camaro. The third Las Moras racing car is shared by Rob Savers and Lisette Brahms. Unlike their teammates, they're driving a BMW M3. It's a huge step forward for Lisette, the only female driver in the field.
I was asking my husband Luc for, I guess it was 3 years. And then finally he got to the point where he said, okay, you've learned enough in your little BMW 123 diesel. And Acres gave me the chance to drive with their BMW M3 at Zandvoort. And then everyone's like, whoa, you can do it. So then that's when Luc decided to try to handle me in the GT4 series.
We continue our meet and greet at Racing Team Acris with the 2-time European GT4 champion Ricardo van der Ende. Next up, Bernhard van Oranje, who returns to racing after a long period of illness. Simon Knapp steps up to the plate as the pro driver in the second Racing Team Acris car. He shares his ride with Peter Christian van Oranje, and we'll get back to you with details of the Pro-Am campaign shortly. Driving for Austrian boss Walter Lechner is Fabian Lauder.
Last year I took part at the GT4 series already at Zandvoort, and yeah, we saw that I'm nearly fast enough to keep up with Ricardo van der Ende, for example. So over the winter time I worked a lot on myself and we improved also the car. And yeah, now it's getting better and better and the car is fast enough to fight against the front positions, I think.
Berta Sanders is a late entry to the championship, but it's good to have him on the grid, teamed up with Jorg V. Bahn, one of the men behind the GT4 European Series. Like Fabien Lauder, Frenchman Andre Grammatico is driving solo. He's in a BMW M3. Now the rules allow this, but of course they must still do the mandatory pit stop. Swedish racer Erik Behrens is also the team boss at Alfab Racing. He's paired with Daniel Roos, his extremely quick teammate, in their Aston Martin.
We're the only Aston here, so I think it's going to be good. I mean, we haven't felt on the competition anything yet, so we'll see where we end up, and I think I don't know where we stand, so hopefully we're somewhere in the front at least.
One of the most experienced drivers in the field is Jan Joris Verheul. He always prepares thoroughly when he visits the racetrack for the first time, like here at Misano. He's the ideal person to talk us through a lap of this most challenging of tracks.
First corner is quite, the entry speed is quite high. You brake into the corner, let the car go, and then the second corner, which is right here, that corner is not very important for the rest of the sequence. So in this case, the speed through the corner is quite low, setting up for the third corner, which is very important, to have high speed through the corner.
The Misano circuit is probably best known for their MotoGP and Superbike races, but during the season there are plenty of car races here as well. And one thing is very obvious, it's as flat as a pancake. There are no hills or descents anywhere inside of this track, or at the track for that matter. There are also long straights with slow corners at the end, so you can try and outbrake each other, and fast sweeping corners. All in all, it's a favourite track for many drivers.
Right after the part where the scooter is now, we're shifting down twice, so we're going to fourth, and then actually all the way drifting through this corner right here, drifting to the last part of the third corner, in this case, back to second gear. It's very high speed. I think we're approximately around 245 kph per hour. And from that case on, all the way up to second, and it's probably 80 kilometers per hour. The last part, always very important thing. Entering the corner at high speed, you're shifting down from fourth to third, all the way over the AstroTurf, and then exiting as soon as possible. So accelerating is very critical here.
Time for race one, and let's join our commentator, Martin Haven.
Ready to get the very first race of the season underway here at Misano. A beautiful Saturday evening, heading to 10:30. There's the poleman, Ricardo van der Ende, multiple GT4 European champion in the Racing Team Holland Ekris BMW. He looks up for the task, and alongside him, the Swedish colours on the Alfab Racing Aston Martin Vantage. Daniel Roos, the pro, he will start that one. The Swede's very excited to be here. Jan-Joris Verheul, our track guide, that's his Chevy Camaro. And right behind him on the grid, the first of the Ginetta G50s. Bertus Sanders starts, his co-driver is Jörg Wiebahn.
The race is 1 hour. It's kind of sprint endurance in between, and well, we have a good feeling for getting towards podium, we hope, and I think there are good chances if we keep the car in one piece and don't ruin the tire right in the beginning. So the whole consumption, the whole package, I'm pretty positive.
So nerves jangling as everybody gets ready for the rolling start, being paced by the orange car of Ricardo van der Ende. Daniel Roos alongside as the headlights glare coming towards the camera. A real feeling of endurance. There's Bertus Sanders in the best of the Ginettas. Great start on the outside from the Camaro of Duncan Heisman. He goes right by the outside. On board with him, that's the Aston that started second. There's the pole-sitting BMW. Ooh, and a little bit of rubbing in the first corner. They go three wide. The Team Holland BMW's right in the mix. So too Heisman with that Camaro and Daniel Roos. Let's take a look again with Simon Knapp, the second BMW, Aston on the left. He goes inside that. Contact between, on the left, one Camaro, on the right, on the grass, the other Camaro, Jan-Joris Verheul. So Ricardo van der Ende leads in the BMW. Gap back to Duncan Heisman, Simon Knapp in the orange car, Jan-Joris Verheul. Then the first of the Ginettas, the red car, Alessandro Bonaccini, ahead of Argentina's Franfil Bugliotti. Then Daniel Roos in the Aston Martin. And this is a great opportunity for van der Ende to escape as they battle behind. Heisman in second place in his Camaro. Simon Knapp right with him. You see the two sets of headlights. And then a little gap back to Jan-Joris Verheul, ahead of the lead two Ginettas. Well, Daniel Roos right behind, battling with Bertus Sanders in the black Ginetta G50. And he loops it out of the final corner. That's not going to help tyre life either. Well, let's take a look at the onboard. Flat out, very wide through corner 15. Last hairpin approaching. There's the Aston on the inside, 2 into 1. The inevitable conclusion, I'm afraid. Jan-Joris Verheul in the white Camaro being chased by Alessandro Bonaccini. Now with around 425 horsepower, the Camaro motor is the most powerful, around 100 less in the Ginetta, but the cars are balanced for performance before the season, so you get different makes, different sizes, different powers of car, very closely matched. And And the idea, of course, behind that is to open up the GT4 Championship to as many different manufacturers as possible for a huge variety of potential race cars. Well, as Jan Joris Verheul races on, teammates Marcel Nuren getting ready in the pits for his stint. 48 minutes plus a lap. And of course, you've got to make your mandatory pit stop somewhere in the middle. On board with Jan Joris Verheul. Oh, that's not good! That does not sound good. Lots of lights on. And he's pulling off the circuit. It doesn't look good. I think Marcel Nuren might not get to drive. Race leader Ricardo van der Ende on pit road. He'll hand over the lead car to Bernhard van Oranje. Of Orange, literally in English. The House of Orange, of course, the Dutch royal family. On board with Andre Grammatico, driving solo, so no dramas with that. Still got to make your pit stop. And a good move up the inside as he goes past the other solo driver, Fabian Lauda. Grammatico with a BMW M3, Lauda with a Lotus Evora. Out goes the M3 of Bernhard van Oranje. And meanwhile, Duncan Heisman has handed over to Luke Brahms, the car that was in second.
I had a brilliant start, to be honest. Lights went out at the moment where I thought, okay, I go full throttle now, and the lights went off, and I could overtake Simon and Daniel with the Aston Martin. Then I got hit by Simon, but probably needs to get used to the car again. New season, new tyres, and maybe he was a little bit too late on the brakes and hit me in the rear.
Well, he's very forgiving, maybe because he stayed on the track. Staying on the track too, Lisette Brahms, as she gets clumped by a Ginetta. Just what she doesn't need when she's trying to focus freshly out of the pits. Battle for position now, the car that was second with Heisman. That's Luke Brahms in the white Camaro with those glowing discs. Right behind, Eric Behrens in the Aston Martin. Having a look on the inside, trying to squeeze through. BMW in front. That's Peter Christian van Oranje going very wide indeed in the Team Holland BMW. And it looks as though Behrens is shaping up for a pass on Luke Brahms. Here he comes to the driver's left. Onboard camera. Now the Camaro late on the brakes, but the Aston dives down on the inside. Getting it stopped better is all part of the game, makes the pass successfully. Well, here is our lead battle now. Bernhard van Oranje in the BMW and Manuel Lissagni in that red Ginetta. Don't forget that started 9th place on the grid. Alessandro Bonaccini made a great getaway to run in the top 6, and after the pit stops, the Ginetta really coming into its own, run by well-known Italian racer Luca Rangoni. And there is Ricardo van der Ende looking on. Little helpless to assist at this stage. The Ginetta down the inside. But critically, the BMW still leading the GT4 class. And that is delight for Ricardo van der Ende. Teammate Bernhard van Oranje takes the checkered flag as they claim victory in the season opener here at Misano. Confirmation of the result with top GT4 points going to Ricardo van der Ende and Bernhard van Oranje from Daniel Roos and Eric Behrens in the Aston, with Simon Knapp and Peter Christian van Oranje taking third ahead of Duncan Heisman and Luke Brahms in the GT4s. First car to the flag though, the Ginetta of Manuel Lissagni and Alessandro Bonaccini.
I can keep the same time for 20 laps, so the strength of the Ginetta is the car didn't have many degrade on the tires, on the brakes, on the engine, so the strength is the constance.
And our first GT4 podium, victory for Ricardo van der Ende and Bernhard van Oranje.
He was obviously a bit faster. I made a small mistake coming out of the corner, and he took that opportunity to get right next to me. And at that point, I thought it would be better to come home safe than try to close that gap again. So, but we went on, and we came on first on the GT4 Championship. So that was great.
Join us after the break for an insight into the Pro-Am format and, of course, the highlights of the second race at Misano.
The GT4 European Series is proud partner of Project Mine.
Welcome back to the GT4 European Series from Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli on Italy's Adriatic coast. GT4 European Series uses a Pro-Am format. To find out exactly what that involves, we'll catch up with racing team Chris.
GT4 European Series uses a tried and true Pro-Am format, where professional drivers share their car with an amateur. Racing Team Acres fields some well-known names. The team's amateur drivers are the Princes of Orange, Bernard and Peter Christian. The latter has the support of Simon Knapp, whereas Bernard shares his BMW with two-time European GT4 champion Ricardo van der Ende.
We have 2 races in one weekend, and every race we're going to drive together. One race the pro will start and the amateur will finish. In the other race it's the other way around. The most important thing about that is maybe the amateur is more important than myself. Because in practice time, maybe when I do 6 or 7 laps more, maybe I can gain 2 tenths or maybe 3 tenths in qualifying laps. Or maybe when I give the 6 or 7 laps extra to the amateur, maybe he will gain half a second to a second.
We're driving actually a team of 2 cars, so 2 pros, Ricardo van der Ende, European champion, and my brother and myself as amateurs. And I really think that you know, the data, but also the feeling, the expressions, like a circuit like this where you have where nobody has experience. You know, the 4 of us really try to get up to speed after 2 free practices, and that, I must say, that has really improved over the past years. And that's only possible because you drive with a pro, who of course is a little bit faster in understanding where to brake, where to accelerate, where there's grip, no grip. So that really helps you to be fast on the track. I think it's one of the best formats for racing, especially for GT4, which is quite a tough series to get a full grid.
All the pros will want to drive, want to race. All the amateurs want to race as well, but they want to race together with a good pro. I think that's the only situation where we can keep the GT4 series alive, and I think it's a good step to do so. The pros want to race, but sometimes they don't have the budget which is needed to do a full season. The amateurs want to race with a good pro. Most of the times the amateurs got a little bit more of a budget than the pros do. So in that case it's a win-win situation. The pro can race, the amateur will race with a good pro.
And so it's back to racing and our commentator, Martin Haven.
Sunday morning at Misano, cars heading out to the grid, ready for the second race of the weekend. And a quick word from our championship organiser, Max Brahms.
We started 2 months ago with preparations for the season. And with 23 cars on the grid, I think we have an incredible grid to start with. We have 10 GT4 cars and we have 14 Ginetta cars, which is amazing.
It is an impressive job. Here's our pole sitter. It's the white Ginetta. Jesse Antilla, the Finnish driver, will start it. Franfil Bugliotti started race 1. They're on pole. 3.5 litre Ford V6 gives away around 80 horsepower to the more powerful cars in the field. Jörg Vibarn, he's 4th on the grid. Now, he's the first of our GT4 championship cars, another Ginetta. And 5th on the grid behind him, Erik Behrens in the Aston Martin, another of the GT4 entries. Rolling start for race 2 in Misano. White car, pole sitter Jesse Antilla. The red car, Manuel Lasagni. Look at the blue machine showing that's from row 3, Salvador Tinio. Ginetta's 1st, 2nd and 3rd. It's Lasagni who leads from Antilla. Roberto Gentili battling with Jörg Wiemann for 3rd spot. The BMW and the Aston Martin got together. Bernhard van Aranja and Erik Behrens on board with Luc Brahms. That's wife Lisette going by. She started 2 rows behind him in her BMW, so she's made a great getaway. White car pole sitter Jesse Antilla harassing Marcel Lasagni. The black car Jörg Wiemann now up to 3rd ahead of Roberto Gentili and Salvador Timio. And there is the 2nd of the orange BMWs, Peter Christian van Aranja. And the lead 2 Ginettas breaking away, and then there's a bit of a bottleneck behind Jörg Wiemann in the black number 18 car. using all the road on the exit onto this fast pit straight at Misano. Very quick turn in into corner 1. And behind him, Roberto Gentile and Salvador Timeo in the bright blue car. And then Eric Behrens in the Aston Martin got in front of the number 1 BMW of Bernhard van Oranje. Oh, lots of smoke from the Aston. That's very dramatic. Surely that's not a tyre. Looks like oil smoke. He could be laying a trail of oil around the circuit as well. And he must feel that there's something wrong. The BMW goes by easily. Bernhard van Oranje now chasing Salvador Timeo. The battle for 5th place. Pale blue Ginetta. Ooh, lots of smoke up ahead. That's from the lead group. Wonder what's happened there. And there is our leader, the white car. That is Jesse Antilla. Retook the lead after losing it at the start, and looks like he's pulled off. Yes, look, he's offline. And that was the black car of Jörg Wiemann taking the lead then. Through went Marcel Lassagne in 2nd place. And I'm afraid that's the end of the road for Jesse Antilla. Well, his co-driver won't get a drive. Everybody else getting ready, though, on board with Peter Christian van Oranje. Little offline into the corner. Through goes Marcel Noren. That's a change for 6th position. Pit stop as Lisette Brahms comes in to hand over to Rob Savers. You can also see the Van Oranje and V-Bahn cars in the pit lane at the same time. Important not to make any mistakes, get the drivers belted in as quickly as possible. Time lost on pit road is really hard to make up out on the racetrack. Well, Jörg Wiemann out of the car. Bertus Sanders is in that black Ginetta, and here he is. This is the battle for the lead. Alessandro Bonaccini with the red car down the inside. Bonaccini, of course, taking victory in race 1 on Saturday night. Drifts wide over the AstroTurf. That is not as grippy as the racetrack. Back comes Bertus Sanders. This is a great little battle. Very even cars, these two Ginetta G50s. Fabian Lauda in his Lotus Evora GT4 checks the mirrors as he turns in. Somebody behind him. He's being very careful. There's the BMW. That's Simon Knapp. Now is he alone? No. Through has gone Duncan Heisman in the Chevy Camaro. Back with our lead battle. Red car Alessandro Bonaccini really under pressure from Bertus Sanders. Oh, drifts out very wide. The AstroTurf's got no grip. On board with Simon Knapp in traffic, trying to work his way into the top half dozen. Oh, that's the Ginetta of Tiziano Cappelletti. On board with Heisman, finds a way around them both. Gets the power down in the Camaro, using all the torque, rowing it up the gearbox, just squeezes by. The door's closing on Simon Knapp's BMW even as he gets to the apex, and somehow Heisman found grip on the exit to get round them both. Closing stages, and Bertus Sanders in the black Ginetta just ahead of Alessandro Bonaccini. This is our lead battle, and it looks like it'll go all the way to the checkered flag as Bonaccini takes the tighter inside line. Doesn't quite have the overlap yet, but this is a long, fast section. 3 fast right-hand turns, and he's on the inside for the first of them. Retakes the lead, but it's not yet over. Very low curbs, lots of runoff area here, of course, for the bike racing. And that allows the drivers in the cars to use a little bit more of the track than maybe you would at other circuits. Bonaccini keeps his nose in front for the moment at least. Corner 15, the fast left-hander down to the final turn and then back onto the pit straight. The battle for the lead rages on, and neither of these men want to give up the chance of victory. Ricardo van der Ende on a real charge, not too far behind the leaders. Right in front of us, that's 4th place Roberto Gentile driving on his own. And the BMW with a head of steam down the straight goes around the outside of the Ginetta, leaves him enough room into the first couple of corners. A good pass from van der Ende as he moves up the order. Checkered flag awaits, last few corners. Alessandro Bonaccini in the red car, little wobble ahead of the black machine of Bertus Sanders into the penultimate corner. No, Bonaccini's got it covered surely. Sanders has got a run on him, shuts the door. Bonaccini in the red machine still in front, drifts out wide again. Maybe his tyres have gone. It's a drag race to the checkered flag. Bertus Sanders wins it. He pumps the air with delight. I don't know how he knows he's won it, because look at that, just 0.04 of a second the margin of victory, and another couple of laps Van der Ende might have won it in the BMW. Well, what a breathtaking finish, and I tell you what, if we're in for more of that during this GT4 European Series season, we are going to have a heck of a time. There are our delighted winners. What a race.
Never been in a race with the 10th of a second difference between 1 and 2. And it's just amazing. We're very, very happy.
It was really a great race. It's amazing. Jörg did a great job and I can finish it. So it was really good.
As we head away from Misano, Ricardo van der Ende and Bernhard van Oranje lead the pro standings. Driving on his own, having all the fun and bagging the most points, Andre Grammatico in the AMS. With 10 more rounds to go, there's still a lot more racing to come.
So that wraps up our first weekend of the GT4 European Series. Next up, Zandvoort, first weekend of July during the Masters. For more information, be sure to check out our website, gt4series.com. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
The GT4 European Series is proud partner of Project Mine.